What's up, everybody, and welcome to Life in Beats Per Minute. I am your host, Nisan Stewart. It is a beautiful day here in Southern California. We are overlooking the Santa Monica Bay, the Marina Del Rey, and we are here with the legend, a guy that's a mentor to so many people, especially me. He is an author, he is a philanthropist, he is a CEO, entrepreneur. Most of you all know him as one of the greatest preachers the world has ever seen. He is on the Mount Rushmore of preaching. But I have to just introduce you to our friend, Bishop Noel Jones. Glad to have you, man.
It's always a pleasure.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you for coming with us. I'm here to just talk with you. Los Angeles is going through a rough time this week.
Yep.
And, I want to just talk to you not only as a bishop, but as Mr. Noel Jones.
Well, I don't know what you have prepared for me, but
It's all
see if
good.
I can roll with it.
You're going to roll with it, man. Tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow you turn 70 years old.
70 years old, 70 years young.
Man.
Benjamin Button.
Man, yes, you got that right. Tell us about what's going on in your mind as you reach this new milestone.
Well, actually, I don't feel I don't feel 70. I just feel like I'm living from a day-to-day basis, doing what I've always done. But it's from a more logical and cognitive point of view, I have to number my days.
Right.
I figure, well, hey, at best I've got 20 more years. At best, doing all the right things.
Right.
And if you add a little speed to the way you live at this age, then you've got 15. So you've got to ask yourself, what do you want to do right now?
Right.
And the other day I went down to one of my grandson's games, something I haven't done in years. And I said to myself, now I need to do things that are more family oriented. I've given my life to everybody in the world. Family oriented, be a little selfish about the things that you would like to have as a bucket list.
Yeah.
So, and then teach me to number my days. That's what David said.
That's
so I'd
right.
like to leave something even more for you young people. You've given me shelf life talking to you guys because you're connected to the contemporary environment that I'm passing out of. So when I am connected to who's connected, you guys give me more shelf life. But at the end of the day, I need a vacation. I don't need another place to preach.
Right. Well, you've preached everywhere. I was thinking as I was on my way over here, I was like, man, he's preached to thousands, but then I can't say that because you did do that in one setting. Then I can say 10,000s, but that's not enough. You preached to hundreds of thousands of people, and over the years, millions. If you really think about it,
Mercy.
how does that like when you reflect just on the wonderful things that you've done? What goes through your mind if you think about it? You've flown millions of miles.
Right.
You preached to millions of people, millions and millions of people. What comes to your mind at that thought?
Well, I think it was just a natural thing to do. I believe I was fortunate because many fellas, there's thousands, if not millions of people who declare that they're preaching the gospel and they never ever get off the ground. I think that I was fortunate. I think I was fortunate. I think that my attitude towards other people, my understanding of the scriptures, my relationship to the world in which I live has helped me. But at the end of the day, I think God made the way. God opened the doors. I might be able to rationalize how it took place, but at the same time, God put the kinds of things together to make it possible for me to have gone all around the world. I think it's important also to have an open mind. I'm dealing now with the Unification Church, with Mother Dr. Hak Jahan Moon and her group. I'm the chief advisor for the group. And it's just open-mindedness that now has opened Asia.
Yeah.
Because I never intended to go to Asia. I've been invited to Asia, Australia, Okinawa, all those places, and I never really rushed. But now that I have that relationship, so I think open-mindedness, when I reflect upon it, not allowing my traditional brothers and the apostolic people to pull me back into the prison, the kind of traditional prison that they found themselves in, which completely eliminated the millennials.
Right.
Leaving the community, dealing with issues like come out from among them and be separate and totally tearing up the scriptures,
Right.
the context and the text.
Mm-hmm.
And God never said that we should sit around and wait for folk to come to us.
Right.
He said, go ye into all the world, which
Right.
means we have to make the kind of adjustments, kind of mental situations, and we have to listen to other people before we condemn them.
Right.
So add all that together, and that takes me from Nigeria, 350,000 people in an arena, to someplace in Longview, Texas, with 20 people in a room.
Right.
So that doesn't matter.
Well, I think the one thing that's exciting, and me as a musician, which I was alienated for doing what I did, but I knew what my gift was, and I knew what my profession, what I wanted it to be. But traveling around the world to almost every continent and seeing things different than what we've seen here, and then being able to now, after accepting the call on my life to do what the Lord called me to do, I think it helps me with the broader perspective as we've seen and experienced other cultures outside of the country. Like, how does it, going to Africa speaking, going to Asia to speak, what does that do for you? Like, what's in your mind? Because most people don't get those opportunities, and I've been blessed to do it from a musician standpoint. What goes in your mind as you even prepare to share what God has given you?
Well, the first thing that happens in my thinking is, and it's a matter of fact, that much of the belief system that an individual has is predicated on where they were born.
Yes.
We fail to understand that if I'm born somewhere in Tibet, I'm not going to think Christian.
Right.
I'm going to think Hindu. If I'm born in India and various other places where Christianity is not in the middle of everything. Okay,
Our dogs,
Bella.
we love them. We love the dog. They good.
In the middle of everything, then of course you're going to think in relationship to where you're born. Muslim, the major religions: Buddha, Hindu, Muslim, Judaism, Christianity.
Yeah.
And much of that is where you're born. So if I'm going into one of these countries, one of these nations, the first thing I want to know is what in their religious belief is akin to or similar to where we are.
Right.
What in our religious belief is different? Where is the bridge? Can I make the bridge? I cannot go into a country and eradicate the significance of their religious belief.
Right.
Paul said in Romans that he had a debt to the barbarians. He had a debt to the barbarians. How in the world can a Christian leader and arguably the greatest theologian ever say that he's indebted to the barbarians, he's indebted to the Scythians? All it is an entry. It's an entry. It's recognizing that whoever you're dealing with has given you something.
Right.
And once you understand that, now you have common ground to operate within their space without being overpoweringly dogmatic and judgmental, and allowing Christ Jesus to operate in the love that he shows.
Right.
And that's the bottom line of what we do. And if we don't do it that way, then we've missed the mark somewhere.
And we cut off the bridge.
We cut the bridge. We got to make the bridge.
Yeah, we cut the bridge. But I salute you in that, because just as a student of ministry and paying attention to all of those variables, it helps us to prepare if we intend on being able to really reach the masses, as we say.
That's right.
So I salute you in that. So
can I interject something?
Go ahead, Bishop.
Jesus's biggest problem in his sojourn on earth was with religious leaders.
Yeah.
The prostitutes received him when the religious leaders wouldn't. The prostitutes got revelatory insight. Mary, for instance, washing his feet, got a revelatory insight of the resurrection and the life. That family went through something that is our mainstay today. In every service we go where we're burying somebody, we are going to quote, "I am the resurrection and the life." That family experienced a revelatory experience with God that was centuries impacting.
Wow.
What are we going to experience in our life today What sermon are you going to preach? I'm going to preach. What song are you going to write? What musical piece are you going to render that 1,000 years from now they still will deal with it? Sometimes our women don't even understand the real pain that a black man has. He is the target of his own brother first, because we've been indoctrinated with division.
Hopefully, even in this conversation, people will hear, what you shared and open up and broaden our thinking to allow God to really, or really accept opportunities He gives us to be able to be effective
Indeed.
today.
Indeed.
So, let me change the subject a little bit. I'm just interested in, because one of the things, you mentor so many of us. You mentor so many of us, and one of the things you share was when you became a millionaire at a young age.
Yeah.
And I just want to know, I want to hear about the young Noel Jones, because I never get this. But tell me about the young Noel Jones.
I was avant-garde, a little bit different all my life. When I was in seminary, I owned my first house at 19.
Okay.
All right, because my father was one of the guys who never ever believed in renting. Renting to him was an anathema.
Yeah.
Paying somebody else rent for years and years and years, paying off their property increasing in value. And I do it now. I rent, and I have apartment buildings. A hot spot that I didn't know would become hot is Inglewood, of course, now
Yes,
that
sir.
the stadium is coming and the Clippers are building and all of that kind of stuff. So Inglewood is hot as fire.
Yes, it is.
So what I bought for $400,000 or $500,000 25, 30 years ago is now over $1 million plus, and the money's sitting there. And every now and then, instead of just being a fat cow, I take money out, buy another building, or buy a Ferrari, and then the renters pay it back.
Right.
That's what my father hated most of all. So at 19, I bought my first house. I used to do manhole building. Everything in Columbus, Ohio. They tear it down now. Lazarus, those days, I did everything that was under the ground. I came to work. I worked at Ross Laboratories as a lab tech while I was doing seminary.
Wow, we didn't know
I saw
that.
a guy coming in just as dirty as he could be. And I said to him, Harvey, why are you so dirty, man? He says, I do a job. I build manholes. That means you put the brick sting together where the water comes in and the man goes down in the hole and make sure everything is all right. Well, I build manholes. It doesn't have to be exact because it's going to be covered. All right? So I said to him, can you get the jobs yourself? He said, yeah. I said, okay, what do you need me to provide for you to get the job? We go into business. He said, I need a truck and a mixer. They pay us by the day. They supply all the material, and bingo. I said, all right, let's do it. The next week I bought a truck, mixer. He got the jobs, and I made 5, 6, 7, 8,000, 10,000 a week.
So wealth was important to you even as a young age.
Well, the thing about money to me was that money is a means to an end.
Yeah.
You never serve money.
Yeah.
Money should serve you.
That's right.
So I was never gung-ho about making money or being rich or being anything. I just saw an opportunity, thought it would be good, jumped on it, and it brought results. And my reasoning now that I'm older is I understand one thing, that one, we don't own anything because we're not leaving here with anything.
Right.
Number two, the meanest animal in the zoo is not the devil.
Right.
The meanest animal in the zoo is the love of money.
That's right.
Not having money, not being broke.
Right.
Loving it.
That's right.
And when you love it and serve it and you're scared to be broke, you're scared, you can't frighten Lazarus with death.
Right.
After he was resurrected, the man already experienced death.
Right.
So you can't put death over him. Now, which one of us need to act like we can't live broke? We've been broke.
Yeah.
So to take everything from us, or for us to hold on to everything at all costs and to cheat and be conniving, to misrepresent God, misrepresent the scriptures, and fool people over money. It ain't worth it.
Right.
Because at my age, hey, what am I going to take with me?
Can't take nothing
All
with
right?
you.
As rich as Kobe was.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just the way it is. And so I made money. I gave a lot of money away, and I'm a happy camper.
That's good. Well,
You know.
listen, hopefully, with the wisdom that we receive from you, we'll all be happy campers around
Yeah.
this
Well,
piece.
the point is, if you handle your money wisely,
Yeah.
there's a point when you work for it, and
Right.
there's a point where it works for you.
Right.
If you handle it wisely, you will have enough for your third, fourth, fifth generation, your children's children's children, and your children should be better off than you.
That's right.
Because you should have given them a better start than you had.
Yes.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it goes that way in everything. In ministry, you young fellas should take everything that we have, that I have, take it, put it with your contemporary revelatory experience with God and your conceptualization of God
Yes.
that I don't have.
Right.
And then when you marry all that together, you guys should go to the Eon's Fair. And one of the problems we have is we hold on to something until the curve is almost zilch, then we pass it to you, so you have to start again.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, the point that I took over from Mac Murray, from the late Bishop Robert W., was a good point.
Yeah.
Because it was still thriving. I told a young man the other day, and I'll tell you this: take where you are right now, right where you are now, today. It is as a result of what you were given. How long have you been pastoring?
It'll be 8 years.
8
2
years
weeks.
ago.
Yeah.
You had a foundation 8 years ago that brought you to where you are today. Now, let's do a little thing here. Let's take where you are today and say, this is my foundation now. Don't look at it as an end.
Right.
Look at it as its beginning.
Yeah.
And you evaluate everything you have and say, this is my foundation. I'm going to build on where I am.
Yeah.
Now, if where you were brought you to where you are, and you take this and invest it as a foundation and not relax as an accomplishment.
You talking right. I receive it. I'm learning, man. We pay attention because even how you at the City of Refuge, former Greater Bethany Community Church, you kept building. You kept building, and the vision is still big. The things that you're doing, the Noel Jones Academy, the school, it's just amazing. And I just salute you, man. Keep doing, because even at, age is it's nothing but a number in my book. There's some people who get a certain age and they'll stop, but it's like you're going, like you're young. You feel young. That's because you're healthy.
Yeah, well,
you do the right things. You're drinking your beet juice. You're always telling us. You got me drinking beet juice. So I'm trying to get healthy, man. But let me switch gears a little bit. One of the things that we have in common, and one of the things I always love, just as a young boy, when you guys were on Hoover, before I was fortunate enough to know you like I know you now. I know you knew my father, but your connection to music, you always have with your musicians, and then after finding out, meeting you, you taking me into the music room at the house and seeing the extreme high towers of speakers with the chair. There's nothing like that. And me being a musician and a music producer, songwriter, one of the things I wanted to do was have people experience the music in its totality. And you are the first person that I've seen do it like that.
Well, music. The truth is, I should have been right now one of the baddest pianists in the whole world.
Now that's what I was going to ask you. Okay,
I'm telling you, man.
Okay.
Parents sometimes and grandparents, they really don't know what they're doing with raising children.
Okay.
I had a cousin who taught music, right? I shouldn't say right because you don't know. I had a cousin who taught music. Cousin Mavis.
Okay.
And you're playing the piano, and Cousin Mavis would take the side of the ruler, I mean, if she had smacked me with the flat part of the ruler, you could understand. But when she takes the corner of the ruler and smacks you on your knuckles, right, and endure that kind of stuff, I walked off, man, and got off and told him I don't want to go back, and cried and all that kind of stuff. Listen, my musical ear is incredulous. I can tell the difference between, I can tell when my sound man touches the knob and makes a difference in the sound.
Yeah.
I can't sing because I didn't cry as a baby.
Okay.
I'm singing better now because my vocals are exercised in preaching.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I can hold a tune a little better now,
Yeah.
and my vocals have a little bit more extension because I never cried as a baby. My mother said I would never cry. All my Grace would cry all the time. So now she's out there singing, right? But I never cried. Shame on me. But the whole point is, I love music. And my brother Max introduced me to jazz when I came from Jamaica. Bob James 1, Bob James 2, 3, 4, 5. And I took it over. Then I love sound equipment because I figure you have to have a good equipment to make the sound melodious and euphonious, and to give you what it is that's on the record. You want what's on the record. I've got records downstairs. I've got scoops of them. And I loved it. I introduced my children to jazz because I grew up in a place where anything that was worldly in terms of music was wrong.
Right.
But I asked myself a question. If I'm getting married, you're getting married, and you're having a song sung at the wedding, are you going to sing Nearer My God to Thee? Absolutely not.
No.
Love songs have their place.
Right.
The social environment in which we live, love songs have their place. Rap is just a different presentation of the same material. And you can distinguish the material and say this material isn't worth listening to because it's degrading. But rappers rap decent lyrics too. You see, so you always distinguish not by the music, you distinguish the value by the material.
Right.
And if the material is wholesome and powerful and wonderful, it does not matter whether it's secular or it's Christian or it's gospel. The whole point is there is a side of us that the Lord does not cross into. And that is romantic relationships of love and
whatever else.
Heterosexual relationships.
There it is.
God made the woman for the man. And the man looked at the woman and his first lyric was, whoa, man. What a child God gave me.
Oh, man.
Oh, he was writing songs after that, I guarantee you.
I know that's right, man. I love jazz too. I was introduced to jazz by my older brother. So Carl, he wasn't a musician per se, but he had an interest in music, but he introduced me at a young age to Wynton Marsalis.
Oh yeah, Marsalis.
And so
I remember him.
From there, I remember, you know the house I grew up in.
Oh
we
yeah.
Oh,
no question, no
you
question.
know, but
yeah, Dad loosened up after a while.
He loosened up. He did loosen up after a while.
Of
He
course.
probably was ostracized because they like, why he letting them boys go play secular and work with secular artists. But I began to understand and appreciate chords. I began to appreciate melody. I began to appreciate the mix of albums and the feeling that it brought. All music don't, it brings different feelings. I'll say it like that. So,
but you had to understand that all of that creativity and cognitive energy that goes into music development, it comes from God.
Yeah.
The music is of God. I mean, really, you can take any jazz score, and give it a gospel name. What you gonna do with it?
Right. Oh, we doing it all the time.
They shout every day.
Yeah, they dancing to it in the church, shouting to it.
Kirk Whalum. Kirk Whalum is doing jazz fests all over the world, does secular stuff, but he loves God.
Yeah.
You do it all around the world, but you love God.
Yes.
Doing the music based on your skill set does not eliminate your relationship with God.
I agree 1,000%.
I don't know what's wrong with people.
Well, to each his own. I learned. I heard one of your great friends say, he was on the Breakfast Club the other day, Bishop T.D. Jakes. He said some things can be explained. It just got to be revealed. And
Oh,
so,
without a doubt.
and so
Without a
I,
doubt.
I don't argue with folks about
Without a
things,
doubt.
but let me
Without a
tell
doubt.
you, we gonna go hear some music. I'm gonna tell you some people that you got to check out. You're gonna have to check out Corey Henry and the Funk Apostles. It's amazing jazz,
Wow.
or the Brandon Brown Collective, amazing music. I mean, that's what I do. That's what I love, man. You have some of the greatest musicians at the City of Refuge, friends
Oh
of
yeah, I've
ours.
got some bad boys.
Yeah, and I got the next generation behind them over at GET. So it's just a great thing, man. A great thing.
Oh, I heard them the other day. I was preaching somewhere.
Mhm.
Oh, at
They came at the
conference we had.
your
Yeah.
conference. That's right.
I
They
mean,
came
they
and
were
played.
incredible.
Yeah, man. So we just having fun, man. Let me shift gears. I know you mentioned Kobe Bryant. How did you find out?
One of my members who works for TMZ,
Mm-hmm.
as soon as I walked in the door, she was standing on the steps. TMZ was giving her the information, and I walked right in at about 10 o'clock
Wow.
Sunday morning, and she said to me, she said, Kobe is gone.
Mm-hmm.
I said, it's a hoax. It's got to be a hoax,
Yeah.
because I was dead 20 times
Mm-hmm.
already on social media. I said, it's a hoax. And she said, no, Bishop, my company is saying it's real. They have confirmed it. So immediately when I got home, I called Captain Irving Peel.
Mm-hmm.
Flew for American Airlines for 30 years. Flew to Sikorsky because he's come pick me up in the Sikorsky, the same, and after he retired, he flew that for 12 years. So I asked him what happened. He said they should have had 2 pilots. The sheriff's department wasn't going up. LAX had closed down the day before. It was clear, fairly clear, down on the south side of the city. But it was dreadful.
Yep. Yeah.
Gave him special clearance, was flying low. Went below the radar. They said, come on up. But the forensics will tell the whole story.
Right.
But at the end of the day,
Sad.
I have made decisions in a private plane, flying. I was in Cleveland, I remember, and a friend asked me to perform ceremony for his daughter in Columbus, Ohio. My pilot said to me, it's a lot of weather between here and there. I said, look, I'm going, find a way to get me there, go around the weather. When the lightning struck the plane,
Yeah, I remember that story.
and I called on the Lord, and Patrick screamed in the back.
Yeah.
I said, from now on, I am not going to impose my will on what I need done, because I own this thing.
Right.
I hire them to get me there safely. Let them make the decision.
Right.
And I think sometimes we make decisions that are so costly.
Right.
When I thought about that, I thought about, I take my car to a mechanic. He makes a decision. He doesn't fix the thing. The car comes back broken. I complain. I argue with him. I go back. I get the car fixed. No problem. I make a decision with my mother's mental health or physical health, and the doctor misdiagnosed something, doesn't see something. 2-3 years later, here it pops up, something that should have been diagnosed that he didn't diagnose. She ends up dying because of it. It's a decision I made, decision he made, but decisions don't always cost the same.
Right. Wow. Speak to that. Okay, so I mean, it was tough for me because
Real tough.
I had a season seat for 10 years, and then being from LA, those 20 years, just being a fan. Many of the events we get together with friends, we party, we hang out. It was all around basketball, and for me, I agree. It took me back to previous grieving moments, and it was very connected. Which I want to talk about. With you. I remember the day you lost your father.
Yes.
And I don't know if you remember this, because I know it was affecting you, but we were at Puff's, we had his birthday dinner. We were in Beverly Hills.
Right.
And you came in, and me and Jaime, we were like, is everything all right with Bishop? Looking, and that's when we found out.
My dad.
Then your mother and me losing my mother, losing my father.
Right.
I just want to kind of talk about grief and how we deal with grief. Even, just as human beings, forget church, non-church. And we know about hope, the hope that we have. But
Yeah.
but just grieving, what comes to your mind?
Well, the thing that I found, a couple of things I think essential and very important for the process. One that is very important for the process is how you related to them while they were living.
Yes.
That in and of itself becomes the, might I say, the buffer or the medicine, the antidote, that antibody that reduces grief. When my father died, and my mother and I, when I landed in Syracuse, my mother said, after I rested for a minute, she said, let's go and see your father. And of course, he was in the funeral home in the coffin, and she said, let's go see him before we go to service. I know you want to see Dad. And when I walked into the room and I stood with her looking at my father, she was quiet for a moment. And then she looked at me and said, Noel, thank you for the 60th. I gave them a 60th wedding anniversary. I think I brought in Jennifer Holliday and just a slew of artists and gave them just a wonderful 60th anniversary.
Amazing.
I never thought that it was so impacting to the point where that was the first and only thing she said to me, because it related to me giving her an opportunity to express her love for him while he was present.
Yeah.
And she thanked me because I put it together, and all of that stuff. And because now it gave me a sense of relief because he's gone, but she has a memory that I helped to implement. And so it eased my pain for her.
Yeah.
And it eased my pain because I said, well, at least there's something in the record. How you related to people while they were living has a lot to do with how you handle when they're gone.
Yeah.
The second thing is, and this is oxymoronic, this is paradoxical. The same thoughts you have that cause you pain are the same thoughts that eases the pain. When you think of the good times, and you think of all the pleasures and the joys you've had, the laughs, the journeys, the trips, the ups and the downs of the relationship, when you think of the good times and the victories, you get sorrowful because that person is gone.
Yeah.
But it's only by thinking of the good times and the victories
That's right.
that it eases the pain. So the same thing that causes pain eases pain. It's really paradoxical that way. The third thing is to carry on whatever it is that they were doing that they couldn't finish. And if you have the opportunity, the ability, the finances, whatever it takes to finish it, then that is it. The fourth thing is to name some things after them.
That's good. That's so good. I relate to it, as you know, with my father. I think it was rough for me. When my mother was rough, we saw that coming. My father, we didn't see that coming. He dies 40 days after you came and spoke at my installation.
Right.
40 days later, and those are the things. So sometimes I find myself to this day, I'll go into church and just sit in the balcony and look down.
Yes, of course.
At not only what him and my mother started, but what we're trying to continue and build. And it helps. Sometimes you cry about it, and sometimes you be happy about it, and But the city is grieving. The city is grieving. My hope is that, and we're seeing. I was talking to some, Billy and Wayne were talking about how Kobe's death even has people saying that they don't want to argue no more. They don't want to fight no more. And I hope it's not temporary. You have people like 50 Cent who goes around starting a whole bunch of stuff. Great guy, but that's just part of his personality. Worked with him for years on tour, but Now he's like, I don't want to do that no more. I want to do something else. And, it speaks to how large of a life that Kobe lived.
The influence was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, people don't know how well they're loved, and he'll never know.
Yeah.
He'll never know the impact he made on the world.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a little piece about that, we don't understand life many
Right.
times. And I think it was George Duke who did a piece, Rhyme and Reason,
Yeah.
where,
Mm-hmm.
Life has no rhyme or reason.
Right.
And then we don't fully understand God's operation in relationship to his will for our lives. We don't fully understand it. But we know that Kobe had an impact that was second to none.
Yeah.
And all around the world. But let's add to that the significance of those who died with him.
Mm-hmm.
For every family member who was lost,
Yeah.
that family member was a star.
Yeah.
May not have impacted the world,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, somebody in that house
Yeah.
and in that circle was impacted by the other people who were lost.
Yeah.
And each one of those individuals, to the persons who have lost them, was a gigantic star.
Yeah, man.
And so it's spread around to each individual, each person, and I hope that our responses will not just be emotional.
Right.
The last
Right.
conversation he and I had, it was centered around education for young people.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, we were together with the Trayvon Martin situation, and Trayvon's mother was talking about education and that black people ought to give some more consideration to education. And Kobe was in agreement to a point. I said, Kobe, I want you to hear another side of that.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the side I want you to hear. Anytime people are surviving, barely surviving, and each dollar they have is to keep a roof over their head and feed them, they can't give much thought to putting money aside for education.
Yeah.
So we have to have a system in place
Yeah.
that elevates the economic circumstance so that people can begin to think education for their children,
Right.
instead of where's the next meal coming from.
That's right.
So
Correct.
he said, yeah, Bishop, we got to take that up another time, and we won't.
Well, it makes sense though. I know with what's going on. We were at breakfast the other day with Steve Ballmer, and
Yes, of course.
and then you even doing some things with the Cronkies who are building the new football stadium. The city is going up. I believe that about this city. It's going. I think as educators, preachers, entrepreneurs are educating the next generation. The next generation coming behind us. My prayer is that as we try to stand on your shoulders, that they stand on my shoulders and continue to take advantage of the opportunities and create opportunities for each and every one of our people. Now, the last thing,
But it's critical now, if I may interject here.
Yeah, go ahead.
The opportunities that Inglewood is going to afford, and I want to talk to you directly.
Yeah.
The opportunities that Inglewood is going to afford, the inhabitants of Inglewood should not miss it.
Right.
And I'm not just talking now simply about getting the jobs in the stadium building and in the building that, of course, Dr. Ballmer is going to put together for the Clippers. I'm talking about the opportunities that come with owning property in Inglewood,
Yes.
deciding to sell or to keep, partnering with the people who are coming, because blacks and browns who populate Inglewood right now, I will tell you, based on that meeting I had the other day with the bishop, Nisan, I'm telling you this, Inglewood is going to be predominantly white in 7 years. If we don't take advantage of the opportunities we have, the demographic, the populous demographic is going to shift.
Yeah.
Because Inglewood is the next frontier in the LA area.
Yeah.
And if we don't jump on it, we're sitting right there.
Yeah.
Don't sell out cheap, partner.
That's right.
Ask the people, what are you going to build here? Are you going to tear this down and put 10-story condo here?
Yeah.
I want to be a partner. I have the property. Let's partner.
Yes.
And let's operate in that way instead of selling out and running off someplace. Sell off for the $40, buy some rims.
Yeah, no, we ain't doing that. I listen. Inglewood is. I was born and raised in Inglewood. I'm moving back to Inglewood.
That's it.
I'm working on that right now. I've been for the past week. That's my plan because I know what it's gonna be. I don't want to miss out. I missed out on what they did right here.
Oh, they did.
No, I should have. When I first made some money, I bought my house way out there. But I saw these. I said, oh, I want to do it. But then I was touring and traveling and not in the state of mind that I should have been in. But I'm not missing this. This Inglewood is definitely. This is hot. This is where
man made billions of dollars building those places.
Yeah.
And it is a hot community, residential community.
I know.
Everything is there. Walk out of your place, boom, boom,
and that's
boom.
That's what I want. But that's what's going to happen.
I'm going swimming over there later.
Okay. But that's what it is. I appreciate that. And it's just in closing, I just want to know, because you are an expertise in so many levels.
You're going to ask me about getting married.
No, I ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. Shoot, I ain't never doing that, asking you that. You know what I'm saying? You do whatever you want to do. Like my dad told me, I'm going to do whatever I want to do at this point.
At this point. 70 years old, I'm thinking seriously about somebody who can manage my medical situation.
Hey, I ain't mad at that. Whatever works for you, enjoy it. You listen.
No,
you worked
but
hard.
it won't be. It can't be the kind of thing where I'm too old now to get Google eyes and batting eyelashes and falling out, and somebody got me weak in the knees and call her name, and I'm too old for that. Okay. It's got to be a deal that's best for her, best for me.
A deal. I know that's right. Whatever the deal is, make sure it's the right deal. If you make sure it's the right deal,
it's got to be the right deal.
Yeah.
More than the right person.
Yeah. And listen, I ain't mad at that. That's wisdom from a soon-to-be 70-year-old gentleman.
Oh God.
Well, but my thing is for real, because I'm big on right now with what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I have, I'm working on my bucket list. What's on your bucket list?
My bucket list, I tell you, first of all, it relates to places.
Okay.
One, I've got to go to Tahiti.
Okay.
I got to go to Bora Bora.
Yes, wonderful. I've been there.
I got to go to Bora Bora. I can jump off into the water from the bungalow.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things. One of my bucket lists actually is to finish about 4 books.
Okay.
4 or 5 books. That's on my list. I don't think there's very much more, because what I haven't done in life, except for Bora Bora, what I haven't done and where I haven't gone, I didn't want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So now I've got to decide that that's what I would like to do. So I don't have much of a bucket list, because I've done just about everything there is to do.
Okay.
And but I would like to, I think one of the things, my father said to me, you're not a success if you don't have a successor.
Mm-hmm.
So on a serious note,
that's so good.
Another part of my bucket list is to make sure that I can put somebody in that place that will carry on. And go on in a way that is magnificent and pleasing in the sight of God. I don't know what else. Well, one thing I'd like that I thought about, and maybe I should include it in my bucket list, is to sit in my 458 and have Lewis Hamilton driving it.
Oh wow. Okay. You and these cars, man. That's a whole nother subject for another day.
To have Lewis Hamilton roll in that 458 to see just what he would do with it.
Yeah.
Because Tony Peugeot took my 930 turbo.
That shoots out big fire, by the way.
Oh yeah. You shift at 7,000 and fire comes out. And he's from the sheriff department, so I'm not guilty. He was driving 130 on the 105, went into that long turn to the 405, and came out at 145.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm glad you're still here to tell us the story.
Hey, man.
I
said to him, what happens if somebody was doing 40 miles an hour in front of us? He said, I'd go around that.
Yeah.
But I've been up to 175.
Wow. I've been up to 140 and 175 now.
175, and then when I got finished, I was scared.
Yeah. Well, I know my
Never again.
I know what we have to do. One thing we do have to do. I'm gonna add this to your bucket list. One day we'll go out to the Porsche track.
Oh yeah,
You
that'd
bring
be
your,
good.
bring yours. I know my brother. He's always talking about
Oh,
yours.
that's the devil out there.
Yeah. So we bring both of them. Let's get out there and do, because I did it once. It was really amazing. But
Exhilarating.
good times. Just live life, man. Please get us those books.
Okay.
Those 4 books. Whatever we could do to support you. I know you have an amazing team around you, but to give us something. I'm not going to even use the term leave us something, so that you can give us something.
Okay.
I think it will definitely help our space and beyond our space for generations to come. Man, I appreciate you today for just taking some time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you.
And happy birthday.
Happy
birthday. We're going to celebrate tomorrow.
Celebrate.
All right, man. I love you, man.
I love you back.
Listen, thanks for being with us today. Life in Beats per Minute with the Bishop Noel Jones. We'll see you next time.